Your mind is your greatest weapon. In life, no tool, no gadget, no advice can save you when the real struggles hit. When you're broken, lost, or alone, it's just you and your thoughts. David Goggins knows this truth better than anyone. He's been to the darkest places of the mind, where suffering becomes routine and survival feels impossible. Yet he didn't just endure, he mastered it. Imagine duct taping your broken feet at 3:30 a.m., preparing to face a challenge that's already pushed countless others to quit. Picture that pain, the doubt, the voice in your head screaming, "You can't do this." But here's the truth, you can. Goggins found the unshakable power that lies deep within, buried beneath fear, anger, and doubt. And he's here to show you how you can too. Keep watching, because what you're about to hear isn't just a story. It's a lesson in resilience, transformation, and discovering the unstoppable strength hidden inside you. Your mind is your greatest tool, more powerful than any gadget or resource out there. When life hits hard, when you're deep in struggles like depression, loss, or failure, technology won't save you. You can't Google your way through those moments. It's just you and your thoughts. And if you don't take control of them, they'll control you. Your brain has a way of pulling you into doubt and fear, leading you away from where you want to be. But here's the thing, you have the power to take charge. You can decide where you want to go, how you'll get there, and commit to the process. The moment you make that choice, your mind will start to adapt. It's not an easy shift. It requires relentless commitment, but it's the key to overcoming what feels impossible. When I started my journey, all I knew was hard work. It was the only path anyone talked about, but I wasn't naturally talented at much, and I struggled constantly. Studying for the military was one of those challenges. I'd read the same paragraphs over and over, but nothing stuck. Frustration would creep in, but I refused to give up. Instead, I wrote the words down. Then I wrote them again and again. Eventually, my brain got it. The process wasn't fast or easy, but it worked because I stayed consistent. I didn't stop until I succeeded. It was the same with swimming. My body wasn't naturally buoyant, and the water felt like an impossible enemy. But every day, I went back to the pool. I failed repeatedly, but I didn't stop. My brain finally realized that quitting wasn't an option, and it adapted. That's the power of persistence. When you show up over and over, your mind learns that it has no choice but to figure things out. But you can't fake it. Your brain knows when you're bluffing. Telling yourself, "I'll try one more time," isn't enough. Real commitment is about deciding, "I'm not stopping until this is done." That's when your mind shifts. It stops resisting and starts working with you. That's when real progress happens. When I went through Navy SEAL training, people couldn't believe how long I lasted. 18 months. Most finish in 6. I endured 3 hell weeks in a single year. The question I always got was, how did you do it? The answer lies in mindset. I made suffering my new normal. Growing up, my family once lived in a $7 a month place. It wasn't easy, but it became my reality because I had no other choice. Later, when we moved to a $236 a month place, I told myself I'd never go back to that $7 a month life. But if I had to, I could handle it. That same mentality carried me through SEAL training. When I realized how grueling the process was, I decided, this is the new normal. This is my life now. Every day brought a new level of pain. Stress fractures, shin splints, and taped up feet were constant companions. But I embraced it. I woke up each morning and got to work, telling myself, this is who I am. This is what I do. Over time, my brain stopped seeing the pain as something to resist. It accepted it as part of the process. That's how I kept going. My mind adjusted because I gave it no other option. People often ask how I managed to. Run on broken feet or with injured shins? The answer is simple. My brain had redefined what was normal. It stopped seeing pain as a barrier. It became my ally instead of my enemy. This isn't about being extraordinary or having some kind of superhuman strength. It's about making a decision, a real decision. When you commit fully, when you tell yourself there's no quitting, your brain responds. It stops making excuses and starts finding solutions. That's when you realize you're capable of more than you ever thought possible. The journey isn't easy, and it's not supposed to be. Every failure, every setback, every moment of doubt, it's all part of the process. Those moments shape you. They teach you resilience, strength, and discipline. They force you to grow into the person you're meant to be. It's not about talent or luck. It's about showing up every day and doing the work. It's about pushing through the discomfort and trusting that your effort will pay off. And when you look back, you'll see that the hardest moments weren't there to break you. They were there to build you. I gave myself no way out. My mind realized that and said, all right, we'll adapt and overcome. Real effort isn't something you can fake. Your brain knows when you're lying. And if there's no truth behind your actions, there's no progress. During Navy SEAL training, people asked how I lasted 18 months in a 6-month program, enduring 3 hell weeks in 1 year, something no one else had done. The answer? I embraced my new normal. Growing up, my family lived in a $7 a month apartment. It wasn't easy, but it became my reality. That's just how life was. Later, we moved to a $236 a month place, and I swore I'd never go back to that $7 life. But I knew if I had to, I could handle it. That mindset shaped me. When I started SEAL training, I told myself this is going to be hard, but it's my new normal. Every day brought pain, stress fractures, shin splints, duct-taped feet. My body was breaking, but I made peace with it. Suffering became routine, like putting on a suit for work. My brain stopped resisting and adapted instead. It said if broken is the standard, then we'll operate that way. Over time, my mind grew stronger, tougher, and more resilient. That's how I endured. People asked how I ran on broken feet. The truth? I gave myself no escape. I decided, this is who I am. This is what I do. Pain wasn't a barrier. It was part of the process. I didn't avoid it. I accepted it and kept moving forward. During those 18 months, there was nothing outside the walls of suffering. For a short time, I had to become the devil in my own hell. I wasn't just enduring the struggle. I owned it. I became the CEO of my pain. That's how you get through the hardest things. You don't tiptoe around them. You throw yourself in completely, leaving no room for retreat. When I weighed 297 pounds and worked at Ecolab, spraying for cockroaches for $1,000 a month, I thought I was trying hard. That was the scariest realization, thinking that was my full potential. At the time, I believed I was giving 100%. But years later, after losing 106 pounds and graduating SEAL training, I looked back and saw how far off I had been. That version of me wasn't even close to trying hard. Most people don't know what they're capable of because they quit before they truly begin. They think they're pushing hard, but they're not. Real effort isn't comfortable. It's not fun. It's obsessive. It's about deciding discomfort is your new normal. When you accept that, you unlock a potential you never knew you had. Some people hear my story and think I enjoy pain. That's not it. It's about understanding the mind. I was a scared kid who had to figure out how my brain worked. I didn't have a foundation, so I built one. I studied my thoughts, learned what motivated me, and found ways to push past my limits. What I discovered was a sense of power. Not because I could sustain it forever, but because I knew I could access it when I needed to. Imagine being up at 3:30 a.m., taping your broken feet, knowing you're about to face one of the hardest challenges in the world. Most people, would focus on how unfair it is, how broken they feel. But I focused on the fact that I was still there, still fighting. That shift in perspective gave me strength. It wasn't about ignoring the pain. It was about using it as fuel. To truly push yourself, you have to dig deeper than anger or pride. Those emotions burn out quickly under extreme pressure. What sustains you has to come from your core. It's the part of you that can't be destroyed, the unshakable part buried beneath the surface. But you won't find it unless you stay in the struggle long enough to uncover it. That's where real strength is forged. It's not in comfort or easy wins. It's in the moments when you feel like you have nothing left, yet you keep going. That's when you discover who you truly are. When I pushed through those walls of suffering, I realized something. It's not about being stronger or faster than anyone else. It's about showing up every single day, no matter how broken you feel, and refusing to quit. It's about embracing the pain and deciding you'll keep going until you make it through. That's the difference. Not talent, not luck, but relentless determination. The fight or flight response in your body can create incredible power when you need it most. Imagine sitting at 3:30 a.m., duct taping your broken feet, preparing for one of the hardest training programs in the world. You're surrounded by healthy, strong people, yet there you are, broken, disadvantaged, but still fighting. That's where real strength comes from. Not by saying, I'm broken, I can't do this, but by thinking, I'm broken and I'm still here. I'll find a way to push through. When life gets truly hard, your brain doesn't waste time on anger or old grudges. It doesn't pull up memories of your struggles or focus on proving someone wrong. It zones in on the moment and says, we need to survive this right here. Anger fades in those moments of deep suffering because your brain prioritizes survival. What keeps you going isn't surface level motivation. It's the part of yourself I call the mineral soil of your soul. Dirt doesn't burn, and neither does the unshakable part of who you are. But to reach it, you have to stay in the fight long enough to dig that deep. No one can hand you this strength. You won't find it in books or from someone else. You have to uncover it yourself by committing to what you want to become. For me, it was becoming a Navy SEAL and serving my country. But more than that, I wanted to respect the man in the mirror. Accountability became the key. Every day, I had to face how disappointed I was in myself. Back then, I cared so much about what people thought of David Goggins. A lot of people admired me, but I didn't admire myself. That had to change. People want peace without the pain. They want to skip the hard parts and feel whole. If that works for you, great, more power to you. But for me, peace came after pain. It came through trials, suffering, and accountability. And accountability? That's a form of suffering too. It's about holding yourself to the highest standard every single day, even when no one's watching. Accountability shows up in the smallest details, getting up when you don't want to, pushing forward when it feels impossible. It's hard, it's miserable, but it's necessary. Growth doesn't happen until you strip away your excuses and confront your limits. When I weighed 297 pounds, working a dead-end job spraying cockroaches, I thought I was trying hard. That was the scariest realization, thinking that was my full potential. Years later, after losing 106 pounds and graduating SEAL training, I realized I hadn't even come close. Most people quit before they discover what they're capable of. True effort isn't fun or comfortable. It's hard, but when you embrace discomfort, you unlock strength you never knew you had. If there's one thing you take away from David Goggins' story, it's this: you are capable of far more than you can imagine. Pain isn't the end, it's the beginning of transformation. The moments when you feel like quitting are the moments that define you. That's where your real power lies, buried deep within, waiting to be uncovered. So, what's stopping you? Push past the excuses, take accountability, and show up for yourself every single day. Start now. Let Goggins' lessons inspire you to rewrite your own narrative. This is your chance to discover strength you never knew you had. If this resonated with you, don't stop here. Subscribe to the channel and join a community of people striving to push their limits. Let's keep learning, growing, and finding that unshakable core inside each of us. Your journey begins today. Are you ready?